Hello, I know it's been a while. I had a lot going on, and sometimes I just get bored and forget what I'm doing, so thought I would check in. I actually do have a story today. I got the okay to share it from my friend Sam. Uh, this is probably my favorite vacation story. I, of course, have a million, but this is my favorite. So, one of my favorite things about staying in hotels and resorts is the fact that if you don't have a little something that you need, you can just call the front desk for it, things like toothbrush or what have you. And we were in Hawaii for a friend's wedding. And it was a whole group of us, and I invited along a friend, Sam, who was mutual friends with another person in the group. And we were hanging out in like this villa. It was kind of like a timeshare thing, but it was like an open air hotel, if that makes sense. I don't really know how to explain it. So one morning, Sam was looking to have some coffee. Now, I will say there were some coffee shops down the street, but it really makes more sense to just make it in the hotel when you can. And I do not drink coffee. I don't like coffee. I get my caffeine from soda. If I get caffeine at all, I've cut it out of my diet for health reasons. But I've never liked coffee. And in fact, I like to joke that everyone I know who does like coffee is constantly complaining that they've never had a good cup of coffee. So I'm like, I don't understand why you like coffee so much then. So Sam was getting ready to make some instant coffee, and she found some of the little packets, but she couldn't find any coffee filters. So, understandably, she was like super upset. She's like, what am I supposed to do with this? How am I supposed to make coffee? I don't have any filters. Why would they not put filters in here? What the hell? So I was kind of amused because that's a simple fix. I was like, I'll just call the front desk. It's no problem. They'll bring us filters. So I grabbed the phone and I was trying to dial out and I couldn't quite figure it out. There was like a little sheet there that I pulled out that had instructions on how to dial to the front desk, and I kept trying and I couldn't quite figure it out. And I mean, to be honest, I 100% think it was user error. I think I just couldn't figure it out. And being the time of day it was and that Sam needed her coffee, I was like, you know what? The front desk isn't that far away. I'll just walk over. It's not a big deal. So I walked to the front desk. And knowing she's gonna think it's weird that I walked all the way up there, I explained to the woman at the front desk, hey, I did try to call, I just couldn't quite figure out how to work the phone, so I figured I would just walk up here. So before I could even say anything else, she's like, what's wrong with the phone? And I'm like, no, nothing that I know of. I just couldn't figure it out. But the phone's fine. The problem is we don't have coffee filters. Is there any way someone could come by with coffee filters later? And I felt like she wasn't paying attention to me at all. She was like, "What room are you in?" And and then she starts trying to call the phone, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with the phone. I'm not saying anything's wrong with the phone. And so she tries to call, and there was a group of us in the room, but Sam and I were the only ones awake at the time. So Sam answers the phone, and the woman's like, hello, who am I speaking with? And she says, Samantha. And I guess the woman misheard her and kept calling her Vanessa and was like, okay, Vanessa. And Sam, I can hear her on the other end. No, Samantha, Samantha. So finally, she hangs up the phone and she looks at me like incredulously and is like, the phone is working. And I'm like, I never said it wasn't. I said I couldn't figure it out. Like, look, I realize I'm a dum-dum. I was just struggling with the phone, and I figured it made more sense for me to just walk over here than to struggle with the phone. Like, can we just get the coffee filters, please? So, although slightly annoyed, I'm mostly amused at this point. I just thought that was really fun. I walk back and I'm cracking up, and Sam is like clearly very grumpy, and she's like, "Who the hell is calling over here and calling me Vanessa?" And I explained it was the front desk. I mentioned that I couldn't figure out the phone because I felt like I was gonna look a little weird for walking all the way up there. And then Sam was even more angry. So she's like, "You mean you went up there to ask for help, and then she was mean to you and basically ignored you and focused on the phone?" So the door, like we start hearing someone knock at the door, and Sam is ready to give them a piece of her mind. So I actually had to jump in front of her to answer the door. And thank God I did, because it was not the woman from the front desk, obviously. It was just a sweet man who worked there and just came by and was like, "Here are your coffee filters." So I give her the coffee filters, and she sets up the whole thing, and she opens the packet, and she realizes that the coffee is like actually in a filter packet. So it's pre-filtered. None of this had been necessary. Good times. But anyway, I mean, I would go again. I loved Hawaii.